Hello, welcome to the Low Code Campfire. This is episode number 226 for January 9th, 2026. My name is Dale Warner. I am head of support for Plant and App. I've entitled this one Steps Forward, Steps Back. We'll see where that goes as we get along. The Low Code Campfire is an event that we do every Friday, 10 a.m. Central Time. It's an opportunity to get together and talk about the challenges and techniques and experiences that you face as you work with Plant and App. Maybe get some help from some other low coders. And regardless, this is an all skill levels welcome meeting. We record all of them and put them on YouTube, so you can see those on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/plantandapp. We run this agenda. We stop and say hello because we're a friendly group, and then we go around the campfire, anything that's been submitted in advance. But so we'll talk about that and first call things, and then pick from a variety of other topics. After an hour or so, or when you guys get quiet, we'll go into our afterglow segment, where we'll turn off the recording and just enjoy each other online for a few more minutes. So do engage, jump in, show and tell, chat with us, but mainly get involved. We have you can use the support@plantandapp.com email address if you want to submit any questions or topics in advance. I'll do a little research and then we'll talk about them. Hello, one and all, or one and two.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey. So we start with first call. Did either of you guys come with something to talk about?
I don't know if you want to talk about this. I just performed a upgrade on production, and I'm coming across an error that seems to be a conflict.
Well, happy to talk about anything. I'll approach anything, but yep, your mileage may vary in this
All
platform.
right.
So let's get it.
Yeah, so basically because I know Platform 10 is not um, going to be officially compatible until we reach 128. So I'm on 126 at the moment, and I pushed it as far as I could to alleviate the security flaws, which is DNN version 9.13.10. Everything
Mm-hmm.
looks fine, but then I opened up a form and I hit submit, and it just freezes and it says, please wait. And it's not doing anything. When I look at the error log, I'm seeing errors indicating that it could not load GAN's XSS HTML sanitizer.
Okay. So I'm sorry, this is a production upgrade?
Yes.
Mm. And has it been turned on and you're not going back?
Pretty much, because it was a forced upgrade by our powers that be.
Yeah. Um, so I mean, I'd be happy to take a look at the logs and see if we can sort that out. The beyond that, opening a support ticket. I don't know. Have you done that yet?
Not yet, because it literally just happened like 10
Yep.
minutes ago.
Yep. Because that would be the typical things. Create a support ticket, send the logs. We'll take a look at it, and on something like that, would be there's that spot in there to say system impaired that would get our attention really fast. But it's this challenging circumstance because I have no information on DNN 9.13.10, and it is beyond where we've recommended to go. So, I mean, we're going to try to find it and fix it, but I have no information about whether we will.
Okie doke.
um,
On a troubleshooting question on that, Ben, have you gone in and onto your form and turned off that HTML sanitizer box that's in some of the
Yeah.
text boxes.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing that, but the problem is like this. I mean, that might fix the issue for that one form, but I have dozens, if not hundreds of forms. I'm not going to do that with everything and then have to turn it back on later when a full fix is realized. So, I mean, just doing that, yeah, that might be a temporary fix for this one particular form, but that's really not going to get me anywhere. So I didn't really want to waste my time doing that because a bigger, broader fix needs to be realized for this. So I
Can
wasn't sure if anybody else did this upgrade to 9.13.10, and if they, had reported this and there was a known, fix for it or whatever. So that's why I mentioned it.
So is this something that you can either can you paste or email the error message that you're seeing so we can try and get into it? I mean, I'm happy to try and debug it
Sure,
now. It's a
I could
tough
throw
circumstance.
throw it into the chat. I don't know if it's going to be very helpful, but or readable rather, I should say.
Yes,
Da, 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 da. Oh, of course, it's too long. So I'll have to email that to you. I'll do that right now.
great.
And email to Dale Warner. Hey, you should get it in a few seconds.
Is there anything about the error message that we can't share publicly here? If we,
I don't think so because there's no IPs or anything on there. It's just that one system type load exception.
Mhm. I just before I start
Yep, appreciate it.
pasting things, and that hasn't come through yet.
Yeah, I tried using our joint intern,
Hmm.
and it basically was claiming that it's a web config issue with the DLLs on the system for HTML sanitize. So I went and I looked, and there are two. One of them is directly in the root of the bin. Another one is nested in a Plantin app folder. I see that the update to 9.13.10 did make an update to the web config for HTML sanitize. And it stated, the only reason I know is because they date it when they make those changes. What did it say here? HTML sanitize. Yeah, it was, I don't know, originally looked like they used the same versioning number that you did. It was up to or new version 6.0, but it looks like they upgraded it to now version 9. And what's in the Plantain app folder is 6. So I don't know if that's an issue, but I was under the
Tell
impression
you
that
what,
you could have multiple versions as long as they're in different folders.
let's uh, I still haven't gotten it, don't know why, but in the meantime, why don't we I have a 9.13.7 system running Plantain app 127. I don't know if I have a, let me see. You're running, you said you're doing 126 or 127?
Okay, I don't know why Zoom did not let me unmute for a minute there. Yes, 126, sorry.
I'll take a look and see if I have a, uh, well, I do have a 126. We could, um, tell you what, I'm gonna I'm going to assume that this is just a general problem, and we'll do 127 and see what happens. But we can try and do the upgrade for this right
I mean,
now. So
I could throw into the chat just the first few lines of the error, not the whole thing because it's too long apparently, but basically that this is really all that I think you're going to get out of it without going through the whole call stack.
mhm. Um, so just from my own experience, this looks to me um, like the earlier version had something that the new version doesn't, and that had this GANs XSS HTML sanitizer that maybe has a different signature or is not present in version 9. So version 6 would be the one that you'd want to try and get to. And so depending on what your redirect, what is it, binding redirects say, that perhaps you need one that specifically says if they're looking for version 6, do this, or for version for 7. And then alternately, you might try forcing everything. If you can't get it to differentiate on version, you might remove the reference in your web config to version 9 and force everything back to 6 and see if that gets you anywhere.
Yeah, I just posted the currently what the web config has for the two entries. So, I mean, it looks like it's should be doing it correctly because they're both different folders with different versions, but
Well, this says force everything to version 9, regardless of
Mhm.
anything else. So I would change this to uh, 6.0.0.1 and higher, go to version 9.
Let me just see something because I think the plant and app version is actually 6.0.441.0, so maybe do like 6.1 and up. Would that
Yes,
be
yeah,
safer?
I, yes, or I, I definitely think this part is the problem right here. So, um,
Well, let me try it. So if I do 6.12, that exorbitant number, save, and let's reload the page, which is going to kick off a recompile.
sure.
Oh,
So
that wasn't too long.
for those of us not familiar with looking at that message,
Yep.
um, what you're doing is saying that way you had it, it said take all the versions in there and redirect them to version 9.
Yes.
And now you're saying, okay, take 6.1 and above and take it to 9. But since Plant and App was using the 6.0 something version, it'll still use the
That
Plant and App installer.
that's
Okay.
the theory. That's what we're trying for. But absolutely, the saying 0 to 32,767 is the wild card way of, or the bulk way of saying everything goes to version 9. And then we've seen this in other products as well. Earlier,
Well,
go ahead.
sorry, I was just going to say I can confirm that worked.
Excellent. So small fix. The presumably whatever the upgrader was just threw in this override without realizing that some other things might need um, a specific version. And yeah, and like I said, we've seen this with other products. Too Sexy, for example, comes to mind, where the fact that you have um, certain things that require certain versions of DLLs, and it's saying do force everything to this DLL. Well, that works in most cases, but when something needs a particular DLL, that's a problem. So glad to hear that. I mean, it was that easy. Hopefully, you won't encounter anything else in that upgrade, and we'll make a note of that.
I'm hoping. Thank you very much for the help because,
Oh, sure.
the thing was, this was kind of a rushed thing. So I
Mm.
did do a test of the upgrade of the platform just to see if the website didn't crash. And I poked around in forms and grids, and I'm like, oh, everything looks like it's working. The one thing I didn't do because it was a test site is open up a record, try to modify it, and then save it again with, on a form.
Hmm.
That was the
Hmm.
one thing I didn't do. And then when I did it on the live, and I'm like, uh-oh.
And um, so just a general thing, and everybody has to figure out their own way of I mean, if you need if you need to do an emergency upgrade, then you do it, and you the speed is the win. The cost is you might find some things that are problems like this, and you may still find other things, right? The recommended procedure for anybody else listening, I mean, I know you know this, Ben. Recommended procedure is do it on if you have a production system, and you can do it whether your users are offline or that you do it on a staging environment and test thoroughly, especially between major versions. There will be things that you're going to encounter and have to deal with. You at least have to assume that, and then and so as a if you have to characterize it, a major version should be a heavy testing, not I mean, maybe a cumulative update. You can do a light test, but a major version should be heavy test. I know the target is version 1.28. I mean, that's we're days away. I think that's on my list to talk about today. Days away from going where our release candidate 3 is probably, which is the current beta, is probably going to be promoted um, as the 128 official release on the 12th. That's the plan. So what's that, Monday? And in this version, we've talked about it in these last weeks. We moved a lot of things around. It's the right move. It's move. When I say move things around, we've reworked the token engine, and we've put all the actions into a single database table instead of spread around the product. And so it's the right move, but there's a lot of migrations that happen. And if the migrations don't happen right, you end up with weird things. So yeah, I've been chatting before we go on to that, though. I mean, I can give you some specific guidance on things we're seeing already, but that's just the overall. You got to test this stuff. Questions before I talk more about RC3?
I have an RC3 related question in that, and you sent me a ticket to retry something in my testing.
Yes.
And did you want me to try that with a upgrade to 10 at the same time?
That's our normal path. Most people are trying to get to 10, so I would say, yeah, I honestly can't remember at the moment what it was. Let me see.
Okay. No, that was my plan, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Good. Um, So one of the things that we're seeing in RC3, we had a user that was upgrading a staging site Actually, they had a local host site and it worked just fine. And then they were going on to their staging site to do the exact same upgrade, and they got a completely different result. The result that they saw was that when they went into like action form and opened up a button and looked at the actions on the button, all the actions were there, but the configuration for those were not. So you'd open up a send email and there was no subject line, no body, none of the configured parameters were present. And it turned out to be that the SQL user, the user that's configured in the web config to access SQL, did not have DB owner rights. So if you're going to upgrade to 1.28 and DNN10, at this point, your best we're investigating to see if there's some lesser rights that are possible, what the minimum necessary rights are. But if you want to save yourself time right now and get there, make sure it has DB owner rights to the database and all the schemas. Anyway, we're seeing based on beta tests and testing of our environments, we're seeing good migrations, good installations of this RC3. The RC3 has come about because there's been some reported things, migrations that didn't work, or specific scenarios that were problematic. And so there's been fixes that have been done. So thank you for participating in all the different ways that you do. But yeah, RC3 is looking good.
Dale, I just a quick update on, because I know that you asked me to give RC3 a try earlier this week, and I finally did it this morning. I've had a priority project going on all week, but I just got to it this morning, and I am getting some migration failures again. So I can pass on logs and stuff to you, but it was not successful.
Okay. Well, I think that'd be tremendously important for today, since we're going, I mean, as soon as you can do it, I'm not going to put pressure on you, but
Yeah,
knowing that, and I'll pass that on as part of the feedback for whether or not we do go to full release on Monday. And I honestly can't remember where we are in without looking at the ticket. So, do you know if DB owner is potentially the culprit? Are you sure you have?
Shouldn't be, because the owner was set up by the Plant and App team, so I suspect they would have. I'm almost certain, because I've looked at it before. I'm almost certain it does have DB owner.
Okay.
Rights. So.
All right. Well, I will anxiously take a look at the logs as soon as you post them.
Okay.
Several people have joined since we got started. There were only 2 of you here when we got going. So you missed first call. We're still in first calls, or something you want to talk about? All right, I'm going to pick a few things. What else about the release? Sorry, I'm going to... reference a document here. So I think we've talked about this some last week, but I'll just continue a little bit. So I think last week I was showing off my bad actor script that I was doing or maybe my reaction to it. So short version, we had I was doing an upgrade. I noticed that the upgrade was succeeding over and over again, and then one time it failed, even though it was the kind of almost the identical system. Turned out that we had, I had a bad actor involved. Somebody was hitting my website thousands of times at the point that I was trying to do the upgrade, and it was just, somebody from China that was probing my system looking for flaws, for weaknesses. And so since then, I've written a bad actor script to do the same kinds of things, and I've also written the ability to a PowerShell to watch for that kind of activity in the logs and block people quite quickly. And so that was the humor from last week, where we we got locked out of my website just because that script was too aggressive. Anyway, I've since fixed that, or made at least a little bit more permissive. I haven't been locked out since, but all that to be say that if as a general rule, we're going to publish a page on the website, a best practice that is take the site offline when you're doing upgrades. I know many of you do that, and some sites aren't worth doing that. You don't have that kind of activity. But if a site is on the web and getting hit by, or particularly hammered by, somebody that's trying to probe your site, or if you have a production site with thousands of users, and I know we have that circumstance as well, that just being hit as it's trying to upgrade is not the ideal. The ideal is that users don't hit the site and only the admin hits the site while it's being upgraded. The spot I don't see 100% consistent results, meaning sometimes the upgrade succeeds, but just with highly delayed because the site is cycling up in the middle of trying to upgrade. Other times it fails, and it is not these upgrades. So, for example, we're doing 127 to 128 plus a DNN10 upgrade at the same time. I've seen it fail in the middle of our part of the upgrade, and I've also seen it fail in the middle of the DNN10 upgrade. There's the platform upgrade is separate, and whatever protections we might put in that solve these kinds of issues might not be in the product as well. So, big thing, if you could possibly take your site offline. Any questions about that?
I just as a comment, not really a question, but I appreciate that the upgrade to 128 is giving us the application under maintenance prompt, and so that's I think that's a good step.
Thank you. We're certainly doing what we can to try to prevent that kind of thing, the issues that are there. And then also, when I was talking about this with our team yesterday, there was the mention that at 128, that the DNN installer is being used, and there's a plan. I haven't seen it, so I don't really know how it comes into play, but in future versions that we won't be relying on the DNN installer to do the work. So the piece that the more that we can control the experience, the better we can get at this. So hopefully better things coming yet in future versions. So I talked about bad actor. I talked about the DB owner requirement, or what seems to be a requirement at this point. There was some confusion, and so we've agreed we're going to try to get better at this. The part where we're publishing release notes for 128, even though 128 isn't out, we're trying to give you all the information so you know in advance. But that has created a little bit of confusion about, is 128 out or not? And so we're more clearly marking that this is notes about the release candidate, trying to keep the confusion to a minimum. Also, you see the button that says beta RC3. You're one. Um, we need to clearly communicate that it's not a approved release, that beta. If I'm concerned that the uninitiated might think, well, there's a button there, I'm going to click it, and realizing that it's not really released yet, it's a release candidate. So we got to be clear what we're doing. But those are all the things that I know about. So looking forward to hearing about any other experiences. If you've got anything, today's the best day to get it in.
So just out of curiosity, the upgrade that I was just talking about, it's currently it's it's in a stuck state. It says upgrade job execution failed, and in the error log, it specifically shows that legacy migrations failed. But there's also still the message that says, please do not refresh this page until the upgrade process is completed successfully. So it's a little bit confusing as to whether or not is it done or really. Yeah. So just a comment.
Okay, that's I have gotten to similar places. Do I, at some point I mean, you can't just sit there forever. So what do you do
Right.
next? And so um yeah, at some point you refresh and see what happens and take a look at it. Yeah.
Is there any kind of path out of this without just restoring the site? Like, is there something you can do to see, is the entire site erroring? Is it a you know a complete server error, or is it problems with some with some functionality or something like that?
So um as far as I know, if server migrations fail, we've taken the decision to keep the site locked and not allow you to move on, because those things come up years later
Mm-hmm.
as problems. So if if it were me, I would if you're in a position to be able to see if the site is still trying to recompile. So, for example, in my case, I can watch the CPU and see that it's still doing something versus nope, it's not trying to do anything. I don't know if you probably don't have that capability. And then I'd try to refresh, and ultimately, if you're not able to get it to go, then we're capture the logs or open a support ticket to try to figure out what's going on. But yeah, and then you're doing this on a staging site, I assume.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that would probably be a perfect one for us to dive in and try and figure out what's going on, since it's on our infrastructure. All right, anything else? So moving on to just a few things. Documentation changes. I mentioned we're putting a bold explanation of what's going on here, but we are trying to provide a lot of information about what's going on in a given release. I know there's a lot here, but we also want you to know what's coming. So that's one thing. There is a whole managing your account section that wasn't in the documentation last week and is here now. So this is aimed particularly at new people, but maybe we've made some changes in this area, so we'll bring you up to date on it. But when you're in the console.plantandapp.com, exactly what you have the ability to do and the options that are there, and kind of explaining and so and what you might expect where. So there's a whole section that wasn't there last week. I saw there was a topic on the community portal, and I've talked to this client already, so I kind of know which direction that he went. This is about MFA, and I see that. Oh no, I didn't. This is a different client. I talked to another client about MFA as well. I think he referenced this one. So this one was kind of thinking about passkey, so that's one thing. The client that I was thinking about went and was kind of kicking around all the different options that were available, and I think he was going with an email answer, sending out an email with a 4 or 5 or 6 digit code to just verify that to provide multi-factor. It was necessary to have multi-factor, and so that one seems to be the easiest. At least from my perspective, it is to implement. But yeah, any differing opinions? I know, Patrick, you have experience with passkey, so
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we use passkey and SMS and WhatsApp as far as for verification. And the thing that I think it's important to keep in mind is that passkey is not really a 2FA solution. It's a secure login solution, but a user still has to have a username and password because their passkey can only be set up if they're already authenticated. But once they are authenticated and they set up a passkey, then they can use that passkey to bypass authentication, and it's very secure. So I think that's an important
distinction.
Yeah. But setting up, getting our approval for sending SMS messages and for WhatsApp, both were involved. There's no question about it. You have to jump through some serious hoops, but I think it's worth it for convenience. If you can, if your organization can afford a little bit of extra cost and the time spent to go through all the approvals. Our user base is definitely they appreciate it. They like the fact that there's those options, the SMS and WhatsApp.
So I think this is the first that I've heard of discussion about sending via WhatsApp. Any insight into that? How easy?
It's an additional option, but the thing that is most useful for us regarding WhatsApp is that we have a lot of international users, and when it comes to sending SMS to international phone numbers, there's a whole additional array of things that you have to go through to be able to send SMSs to international phone numbers. But WhatsApp is not, it's a service, so it's not carrier based, and so our international users can use WhatsApp pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still phone number based.
So they have some hoops, is more about certifications, or?
No, it was about they're very specific about the type of message that you're sending and the wording of the message. And we were originally trying to do our own custom message, but as it turned out, what we had to do is we basically had to use WhatsApp's template for one-time passcodes. There was just no other option. We couldn't do it any other way. So they're a little bit specific about the content that's being sent.
Okay.
But and I think we did have to get an approval, but it wasn't as hard as the SMS approval was. But there was an approval process there as well.
And I've shared before on the SMS side, I have used ClickSend, and the approval process took a while, and they really liked having their words on our page, not as part of the message, but as part of the agreement to accept texts.
Right.
So
yeah, you have to supply your basically your flow for users that they're going to experience to accept that you're sending them messages.
Hmm.
And they do, and you're right, Dale, they want to see very specific things.
So the approvals you're talking about are from the third-party companies that are actually sending the message, not as
Right.
opposed to your internal
Yeah.
approvals.
No,
Yes.
not internal. Yeah, Dale, like for instance, Dale's using ClickSend, and that was he had to go through their approval process. We're using Twilio, and we had to go through their approval process.
And I suspect in both cases it's the carriers. I mean, ClickSend is a middleman,
Right.
and Twilio is a middleman, and they're going out
Mhm.
through AT&T or whoever the big people are, and they're trying to cut down on spam texts. So they my understanding was when I was dealing with ClickSend, they were waiting on approvals from other parties.
And the just as a little side note that I guess it's mildly humorous, but in a way it's not. But yeah, we jumped through all these hoops to get approval to send SMS messages, and then I look at the amount of spam that I get on my phone by text message, and I think, why aren't these people where are they in this approval process? How do they get to, that's it's funny.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Does the
And
approval process, allow it, or does it just flag it with this is a real text type message?
the approval processes that I experienced is more about getting approval to be able to send in the first place.
Yes.
And then they're not. I think after that they probably would get involved if you report, if it got reported as junk. But at that point, once I got approval, I could send a text message, any text message I want to any SMS.
Yep.
But I'm trying to stay well within their guidelines because I don't want them to shut me down.
And I'm sure, Dale, you have deliverability reports that you can look at also. But we get deliverability reports, and that will actually tell us if somebody reported us as spam. And we haven't had that, thankfully. But yeah.
I hit delete and report junk all the time, and it doesn't seem to stem the tide at all.
Yeah, same here.
So there's a new Campfire contribution made yesterday. Shouldn't apply to any of you, but I'll let you know that it's here. Uninstalling Plant app. This is a set of PowerShell scripts that you can run it against a site, and it's not a guaranteed result kind of thing. I'm having great success with it, but you still have, for example, I got it done. I was running this against a DNN 913 with Plant app version 127, I think, and it's successfully uninstalling very well. But then I ran it on a DNN 10 and it successfully uninstalled, but there were a couple of these same kinds of binding redirect wildcard things that didn't get removed from the web config. So there's like 3 things I had to do to hunt down some errors after the fact, but it gets very, very close to uninstalling the product. So it's here if anyone needs it. Any questions? It's amazing what you can get done with Desire and your intern. Okay, so this is the spot where you guys got to start talking, or else we'll call it. I think that's everything I had prepared for today.
Yeah, Dale, thank you. That uninstaller may come in quite handy for me. I've got, a situation where a client's kind of heading in not in the direction I want them to, but it is what it is. And so, yeah, that could be extremely helpful. Thank you.
Absolutely. There is a a video on this, a walkthrough. You can see it's about 20 minutes of. Although the actual uninstall itself, if you get comfortable with it, running this uninstaller is maybe a 5-minute process, maybe less, and it's it's a 3-step thing. One step does an inventory of everything that's on your DNN site. Another step takes that inventory and builds a plan in the form of a JSON file that here's what we're going to do, and then finally there's executing the plan, and it does all the things that it says it was going to do. And all that is run. You have to have access to the server and run it through PowerShell, but and it doesn't take much parameters at all. You have to have your access to the SQL database, access to the file system, tell it where those things are, and it'll do the work. But yeah, the main thing after the fact is that your Plant app is a big and it is a big product that installs a lot of DLLs, a lot of modules, a lot of database components, and this does is a best efforts to remove all of that, but could remove too much or not enough, and those will throw 500 errors, and you got to know how to hunt those down. But it'll get you close. Do it on a clone at first.
So I have a question about something that I think was fixed long ago, and for some reason I missed it, which was in the configuration screens. I have some of the tabs that show the module titles on the page.
Yeah, that's actually it is fixable. Are you still there, Jim?
I am.
Okay. This comes down to, and let's see if I have one of these. Yeah. It comes down to the container that's assigned on the page. And so, for example, if you have in manage themes, if you have set I don't know, it might be layouts, it might be container. I think it's containers. If you set a container that has, for example, card and title, or yeah, maybe this one will do it. Let's see. Nope. That Yeah, we have it here going on. It's this kind of thing that you're talking about, right? Got extra stuff here on the, okay. So the problem is that on this page that because your system might have a default that says that containers have titles, you've got a container that has a title, then those titles are rendering when you're doing our low code pages. So the pages that are underneath the configuration menu are using our forms and grids and tabs to provide that functionality.
Dale, I don't know why this never occurred to me before, but Planted App could actually probably pretty easily make it so that never happens, because that's an iframe, I think, right? And so the URL they load into the iframe could put the could specify the container, or
no container.
Yeah, no container. Yep. I don't know. That's never occurred to me until
that's That,
Yeah.
well, that's a very good point. I think
Yeah.
that we do have a ticket that we're trying to, uh, we want to solve that issue. So let's see, under user management, appearance, see how I've got card and title here. And this is the problem that it's loading this page in as Patrick points out, going into an iframe, and it's respecting these defaults. And worse, these pages get recreated every time you reinstall Plant and App or upgrade Plant and App, because we're changing the content of them from time to time. So even um, even if you fix this, you might go through an upgrade and it'll come back. But the fix is you coming in here and say no card, no title. And so now when we go, this is, oh,
And
come
that's
on.
by module on the configuration page, or because those aren't really pages, right? Or those are.
These are pages. So users management is a page on the site. And so if you go in and change it at the page level, I think
I'm just gonna throw out there, in case anybody knows. I saw this all the time, but what I noticed was I just did a test upgrade to 128. 128 resolves this.
oh, good.
Yeah, the bad news is it didn't for me, Dale. Yes, I was hoping for the same thing. It didn't happen.
Oh, really? That's odd because I just did it this morning actually. And all of those the users page, the updates page, all of them that had those extra things, they all look correct now.
Well, I'm in the process of doing another one with RC3, so we'll see if this one goes away. Because when I did it before, it
Oh,
was
maybe.
RC1
Yeah.
or 2 or something.
It could be RC3 has that and the other ones didn't.
Try it one more time. The other, I know when I invoked yeah, this is even worse. um, yeah, I'm blowing up my site here.
Hmm.
Uh, solvable. Pages, configuration, advanced, page builder, default PS5. Well, I'm getting closer, but I'm making the wrong choices. It's should be probably be admin screen. Nope. Um, yeah, let's hope that it's solved in 128.
I'm looking at my version. I don't know if it makes a difference, but the users management page is on the layout of admin screen and the page container of no card type, no card, no title. That's the combination that's used now in this one.
which is what I attempted. Um, I have also so the theme has this by changing this default theme and container. Let's see what the container is. Card and title is got here default. If I just set the site container default, and yeah, Let's see if that makes any difference. Nope. Yeah.
Do you need to clear cache or restart the application or anything like that? Or
Thank you for that thought. That's a good one.
I think you did it.
Yes. Still, I don't know what this is. It's still not right, but okay. Oh, thank you, Patrick. If I haven't said, I miss you every day. All right. Probably the original fix that I was doing solved that, but I needed to clear cache. So probably didn't need to fool with themes. Oh well. All right. We have 4 minutes left. Any final topics?
I have a quick question.
Yes, sir.
Um, it was something that you mentioned regarding cloning a site, and I was just curious because again, just did this, and normally I don't typically have a problem, but for whatever reason, this time around the clone was a little more difficult to apply because there were things that I don't know, either I just forgot to do or whatever. And my question is, do you guys have documented anywhere like step-by-step directions? These are the things you need to do if you are going to clone your site to another server for like, development or testing or whatever. That way we don't forget a step. Perfect.
There is a step-by-step cloning work.
Beautiful.
Yep. It was the one step that I've never done in the past, which is what bit me, is right there, number one, um, the folder. Well, actually, I don't know if it's there. There was inside the portal's defaults, it's a caching folder, and it had a bunch of files in there, and it was preventing the clone site from booting up because the cached information was pointing to something from the original server machine. And it wasn't until I cleared that cache folder that the site then booted up. But I did all of the other things that I normally do. And that had never bitten me in the past, but for some reason it did this time.
Interesting. I was going to take a look and see. Um, so portals, default cache.
It was, oh no, actually, yeah, well, there's three of them. Actually, the last two wasn't in portals. It was app data slash search. Inside that was all of these files.
Mm-hmm.
I had to erase these files. As soon as I did that, site loaded fine. But before I did that, I kept getting, like that internal crash page that you get as the admin.
Mm-hmm.
And it kept making it look like it was, like it couldn't reach something. I don't know if it was looking maybe at the old database IP address, or I should say the live database IP, and that machine doesn't have access to it, so it couldn't find it. I don't know what exactly it was, but there was something in that folder, and as soon as I wiped it out and restarted, it came up. But according to the intern, there were two other folders, which was portal default cache and then portal, whatever your number is, cache, if it exists. Those two folders, it says also to empty out. So those three folders should be cleared.
Um, good. I will validate that and then add that to the documentation. Give me just a second. All right. So with that, that's a really great spot to come to an end. I will thank you for joining us for Low-Code Campfire today. We will do it again next Friday. And if you want, hang around for a few minutes and we'll do Afterglow. Thanks, everyone.